Thank you for staying with us. Now, are you thinking about buying a new home? Well, taking your first step onto the property ladder might be better than renting in the current market. This morning we're discussing renting versus buying with Fiona McLaughlin from Private Seller. But first, we're going to hear from Niamh Carwood, a first-time buyer who bought a one-bedroom apartment in Dublin city centre last year.
I moved from Rat Mines because I was living with 5 people over there and I wanted somewhere a little bit more with more space. So I moved into Rat Mines and I was renting there for about 6 months. But we were paying good money. We were paying $700 a month for the apartment. It was expensive enough, but I was in a position where I was paying it comfortably. So then I kind of decided, well, if I can do this comfortably, maybe it's a better idea if I actually buy somewhere else rather than actually just wasting my money. So that was really kind of where it started from. I was working full-time for about two years then, and I just recently got a promotion as well. So, I kind of found myself in a financial situation where I could actually afford to do it. So that was really the main reason why I did it. So the first thing I did actually was I got in touch with my mortgage broker. I just went into him and I just asked him, how much can I borrow? He said to me, based on my figures and what I'd given him and stuff like that I would get a mortgage that best he'd get me would be about the 250, 260 mark. I was living in Rat Mines at the time, and obviously I couldn't afford that kind of area, and I knew this is pretty close. I was working in town, so I figured somewhere kind of around this kind of area, and one of my friends had lived here before, so he recommended it to me as kind of a nice area, very central, stuff like that. So after that, I looked down here, I found this place, and it went on the market for about 6 weeks. And the selling agent said that he was looking for 285. So I went in at 280, and it just happened really quick. I saw it on a Thursday lunchtime. I put the offer in the afternoon, and the estate agent came back to me later in the afternoon and said he'd accepted. The biggest part actually was to get out the place. Whereas when you're renting somewhere, it's fully equipped already. So that was the biggest part, was buying tables, chairs, couches, beds, stuff like that. That was the biggest financial strain. So my lifestyle, I guess, over the first 3 to 6 months was just, keeping it back in again, maybe not going out as much, saving money on this, that and the other, just so I could actually kick the place out first.
Now, Fiona, she did it last year, and a lot of people are looking to buy now and thinking maybe this is the best time to buy because the price is falling, but they keep wanting to hold off because they're saying, well, we'll hold off for another few months, and it has this sort of really don't know feel to it.
Let's try and call the bottom of the market kind of thing, and nobody really thinks that we've hit the bottom yet. So the argument...
Have we?
No, I don't think we have. I think there's a further fall. I mean, the reports of 5 to 10% this year, I think, are probably pretty accurate, and there may be further falls next year. So there is an argument for holding off in the immediate term as a buyer. However, interestingly, the most recent affordability index that has been published by the Irish property buyer shows that even given that house prices may fall further, a first-time buyer couple buying now will be better off after 3 to 4 years by as much as $5,000 per year if they buy now instead of renting from now until then. And after 7 years, which is typically the length of time a first-time buyer stays in their first property, after 7 years they may be up to, even after selling the property, paying transaction costs and all the rest, they may be $41,000 better up. Now, it's based on a number of assumptions that the first-time buyer couple are actually getting a 35-year mortgage, that they have 10% of the deposit, which is key in this market because due to the credit crunch, the 100% mortgages just aren't. Yeah. It's not gone, but it's not as accessible as they were, So it very much centres on, like Niamh is an example of somebody that has bought in the last year and a half to 2 years, and people were saying they were the people that were going to be most affected by negative equity. And she's proof that it hasn't, because her property has actually gone up in value. However, what you can say is that if you link it to the recent DAFT report, that the people that are most likely to be affected by negative equity are people that bought in those areas that were seriously overinflated, in places like South Dublin and Wicklow, for example. But places like Dublin City Centre, Carlow, Kerry, Tipperary, Kerry, there are places that are holding their own.
Where I bought in North County Dublin, it seems to be still slightly moving up still, for whatever reason. The Malahide area are maintaining the values.
So even if you were
one
of those people that had bought it within the last 2 years, you would still be better off. So the key is location. It's still location. And if you can buy in a good location at a discounted price, and the discounts are there to be to be asked for.
Now, we're
buying
talk-
now is still a good idea.
Okay, obviously affordability is the key factor in this.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking at.
And affordability, I mean, amidst all the doom and gloom, the key issue is that affordability is improving for first-time buyers. So instead of paying out 23% of their net income to meet their mortgage requirements, they're now paying 22%. This is on a national level. In Dublin, they have come down from paying 33% of their net income to around 26%. And this represents a saving of about €211 per month for the last 15 months.
Now, looking at the new houses, if people are going to buy new houses and you see them in the papers now, slashed from blah, blah, blah. But are the builders and are they putting in like what they would have been asking for it? They're building in the slashed price into now the price, sort of like, they would have asked for 400,000. They're saying, oh, it was 420, it's now 400. We're giving 20,000 off.
I think the answer to that, because anybody that's coming to me and they're trying to get their development sold, I advise them not to guide too high, because the buyers are very sophisticated now. They know exactly what's going on. They know exactly how much properties are selling at, both new and second-hand properties, and you're competing with both. It depends. If all the developers in the area are factoring in the discount that they think is going to be asked, then everybody's going to factor in the discount. However, if there's somebody fairly competitive in the area, then it's very transparent to the buyer, and they're going to be looking for that
what's
discount.
Around the corner, who's giving it, exactly the higher price when you're getting the property around the corner for much less.
And we have seen a return to the queues,
You're saying that.
Savills HOK they sold
launching and they're
188
skewing.
properties in 1 week, and they've had queues for properties because they came in at a competitive price, and that is key. If you're willing to take it on the chin and give the discount, then you will get the buyers.
Okay, renting, is it a better idea?
Well, again, it very much depends on where you want to buy, at what stage you are in your life. You need to know how much you can afford to pay in your mortgage, and then you need to find out if, knowing that you can afford that, somebody would be willing to give it to you. Renting is a better idea if you don't earn enough to pay the mortgage. It's also a better idea if you need flexibility and you think you're going to be moving further down the line. It's also a good idea if you don't want the headache of being a homeowner. The pros of home ownership are that you own the home, you're buying into your own investment, you'll have a real asset at the end of paying your mortgage.
We have to say that the Irish are very unique in Europe for buying houses, because there are people like in France and Spain who rent all their life.
Absolutely.
And it's like that's the norm.
Long-term leases, it's the Irish psyche. We want to own the place that we're in, and it is peculiar to the Irish, to the Irish psyche. But there's no way we're going to change that now. I mean, there is a whole move towards apartment living in high-density areas like Dublin, and again, that's another key issue. How do you get people into apartments if they can't afford to buy